Hello everyone and welcome back to Strife Solutions. I'm of course William Strife and this is Yogspack or Yogscast Complete, a special version of modded Minecraft for us, the Yogscast. If you want to play along, you can download it off of the AT launcher. Links are in the description. So, since the last time that I did any work, I have been hard at work on this oil facility, and I've got all the multi-block tanks built on the top of it, and I've actually maxed out my oil. Well, not completely, almost maxed out. Look at how many Minecraft buckets I have. You know, take the last 3 zeros off, and this is how many raw buckets I have. 23,103 buckets of oil in this thing. And I've got a separate tank that holds just as much capacity right behind it. You can see that they are staggered in height, the reason being that this one is partially buried under the ground. This one is sitting just slightly far enough up for me to be able to get underneath it. And then this last one at the end, I'm probably going to try to fill it up with biomass or biofuel. But this is the inside of the facility. It's completely empty. I haven't actually outfitted it with parts. I haven't outfitted it with machines or anything to convert the oil into fuel, because the fuel's going to go in this tank over here. But yeah, it's huge. There's so much for me to do. So, you know, those Mad Hatters on this server, they ain't got nothing against me, those oil barons. I am overtaking them completely. They've got nothing on me. Check this out. Anyways, that's not what this episode is about. This episode is about ore processing. Ore processing. This episode is all about me finally getting full and complete ore processing up and building a fully automated ore processing system down in the basement. So quintupling is what I'm going to be doing. This is where 1 ore equals 5 ingots. And to do this, I'm going to need 2 chemical infusers, 1 chemical oxidizer, a rotary condensator, a chemical dissolution chamber, a chemical washer, a chemical crystallizer, and gunpowder, or alternatively sulfur. What I actually need is sulfur. If you don't have a mod that adds sulfur into the game, Mechanism allows you to turn gunpowder into sulfur. Okay, so but you can actually find sulfur ore in the world in this mod pack. So now, because this episode is absolutely so ridiculously complicated and long, and it's just going to be an enormous process, I'm not actually going to build the components on camera. As you can see, I've already built everything because I've prototyped the system in single player already, so I know exactly what I need to build down in the basement, and it's going to be a long and arduous process to actually go about doing that. So I've decided to completely omit building the things on camera, but I'll show you the crafting recipes. First of all, chemical oxidizer. It's composed of an electronic chest, dynamic tank, a gas tank, some enriched alloy, and some control circuits. Dynamic tank is cobblestone with steel, and the electric chest is a circuit chest, a couple of chests, glass and steel. So that's that. Then there's the chemical infuser. That's a dynamic tank block with a couple of gas tanks, enriched alloy, and control circuits. The rotary condensator is composed of an energy tablet, dynamic tank, steel casing, circuit, glass, and a gas tank. And the chemical dissolution chamber is composed of enriched alloy, circuits, atomic core, etc. Chemical washer, enriched alloy, steel casing, water bucket, gas tank, and circuits. And the chemical crystallizer is circuits, atomic cores, steel casing, and gas tank. So these are the absolutely necessary core machines that I need to do ore quintupling. However, I do need to address the fact that this episode is not just about ore quintupling. It is also about being able to properly process all of my ores automatically down in the basement without having to do anything manually. So one of the problems is that not everything can be crushed up via Mechanism machines, which is the reason why I need pulverizers from thermal expansion. The pulverizer from thermal expansion is one of the few ways that you can circumvent the issue of not being able to use the enrichment chamber from Mechanism. And what's more, there are other things that the only way for you to double your output from them is to run them through a rock crusher in Railcraft. Now, a rock crusher is a multi-block structure, as you can see, it says on the tooltip there, 3 by 2 by 2, so you need a total of 12 of these rock crusher blocks, and they're composed of diamonds, pistons, and steel blocks. And you get 4 of them, so you only need to make this crafting recipe 3 times. The point is that I'm going to need all of this because it's going to be a large process, and I'm going to be utilizing logistics pipes to make it work. But to simplify things for you guys, what I am going to do is actually just go down into the basement and show you the basics of how these machines work, how you set them up, and how you get anything coming out of them. Okay, so whenever you get into ×5 ore processing and mechanism, what you're basically getting into is advanced chemistry. Now, it is a very stripped down version because it's Minecraft and it's, fun to play. It's not overly complex, but it is basically advanced chemistry. So the way that this works is that I've put down just 5 cables because this is the direction, this is the way that your machines are going to need to be laid out just to get the material required to liquefy your ores, okay? So the first thing that you need is a chemical oxidizer. This is where everything begins, and I'm just going to rotate it around that way. What this thing does is it takes sulfur, and I'm just going to go ahead and put it in there, and I'm going to hook up this energy cube like so, and you can see it started already, and it's going to turn that sulfur into sulfur dioxide. Okay, so the sulfur dioxide then needs to go into a chemical infuser. Okay, now this chemical infuser is going to take the sulfur dioxide from the right and it's going to take oxygen from the left. Well, that means we need oxygen, which means that we need our good old friend, the electrolytic separator. So the electrolytic separator, you need to set hydrogen to dump because all you need is the oxygen. Okay, there we go. I have set up a reservoir to supply infinite water to the electrolytic separator. So basically you want to supply this thing with water in any way that you see fit, and you want to set your hydrogen to dump. Okay, so all you have is your oxygen going out the red tank into the chemical infuser, along with your sulfur dioxide going in the side. So it's going to take the oxygen and the sulfur dioxide and it's going to turn it into sulfur trioxide. Okay, now what you want to do next is you want to put down your second chemical infuser immediately in front of your chemical oxidizer. Now you could arrange these in any way that you see fit. I'm just telling you to put them this way because it's the most compact that you can get this entire system put together. So what you need to do next is take this rotary condensator and put it down right here. Now this is super important. The gas has to be going into the chemical infuser, okay? Liquid goes in one side, gas goes out the other side. And you need to toggle this. What this will normally do is it will turn water vapor into liquid. You want to toggle this so that it's decondensating, which is basically, turning water into vapor, okay? So now it's going to take water in from this side and put gas out this side. Now I'm just going to go ahead and take some mechanical pipes. Okay, there we go. I've got this hooked up now, and it's creating water vapor, okay? And it's putting it straight out over into this tank right here. Now, what you need to do is, with water vapor going in the right side of it, you need to get this sulfur trioxide into the other side. So go ahead and just pop a little pressurized tube in there, and what it creates is sulfuric acid by combining the sulfur trioxide with the water vapor. This is what you're after, okay? Because sulfuric acid is what you need to literally liquefy your ore. What you are literally doing is turning your ore into liquid, okay? So what you can do is take this chemical dissolution chamber. This is where it starts. Now, just so you know, whenever you put down the chemical dissolution chamber, your sulfuric acid source needs to be to the left, okay? Otherwise, it's going to be backward, and this thing is very difficult. It's very difficult to tell which direction this thing is facing, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this right back up, and I'm going to put it down. This thing can accept ores from the top, so if you want to get this entire system sorting automatically, you need to have the item input the top. Otherwise, this side is the input and this side is the output. Whenever you're specifically looking at it from this direction, your your sulfuric acid input has to be to the left, okay? Okay, so now this thing has just a tiny bit of sulfuric acid in it, 100 to be exact. Now this is used to literally dissolve your silver ore. You put 1 in. Okay, so the sulfuric acid has dissolved the silver ore and turned it into silver slurry, 1,000 of it to be exact. Now 200 of the slurry will equal 1 crystal, which means that we can make 5 crystals. And that's where the quintupling comes in. It just needs to be further processed through the old system once you get it into crystal form. However, there's a problem. This silver slurry is literally the liquefied rock and the liquefied metal, okay? Not melted, just literally dissolved in acid. So what we need to do is get the liquefied rock and the leftover acid out of the slurry, and we just want the silver left over. So to do that, we need the chemical washer. We put the chemical washer down right next to it, and it goes into it right here. Now this thing requires water to go, so I'm just going to go ahead and grab a little bit of water. There we go. I've given it a little bit of water, and now what it's going to do is it's going to clean that slurry and put it over here and create clean silver slurry. This means that we have removed all of the impurities, and as you can see, 1 bucket of water purified 200 silver slurry. So I'm going to need to fill this up a little bit more. Normally you would feed a pipe into this, which I will do right now. Okay, now I just want to make a point that this chemical washer only accepts water from the top, okay? Because one side is input for slurry, the other side is output for clean slurry, and the front and back with the little water drop logos, they don't accept water, so it has to go in through the top, as you can see through that little graphic there. So go ahead and select it connect it like so, and it's going to clean all of this slurry into clean slurry, like I said. Now the problem is that you can see that this is a very slow process. We made 1,000. We just processed 1 single ore. Look at how fast it's taking to clean this slurry. That's the reason why in my chest over here, I have tons of chemical washers. It's because I'm going to need many of these in order to speed the process up. So, and naturally, you don't want to be bottlenecking your whole entire purification process like this. So with the clean silver slurry made, the last thing that we have to do is turn that back into crystals, which is what we have the chemical crystallizer for. We can go ahead and pop this thing down, and it's already getting power. It doesn't need anything else in it. It's going to take the clean silver slurry, and it's going to crystallize it. It'll take a little bit of time, but there you go. Now we have silver crystals. Now, like I said, 1 ore will process into 1,000 slurry, and 200 slurry is 1 crystal. So you get 5 crystals out of 1 ore. That's the process. The only trouble is that you have to run it through this ridiculously long purification system, and there's this really mangled system by which you have to get the sulfuric acid. So just to review, you start out with the chemical oxidizer here. You put sulfur in it, and it creates sulfur dioxide, which is going to go straight over into this machine. And it combines with oxygen from an electrolytic separator to create sulfur trioxide. The sulfur trioxide is then combined with water vapor from a rotary condensator, which has been inverted to create sulfuric acid. The sulfuric acid is then fed into the chemical dissolution chamber, and it literally liquefies your ore. It turns it into a soup, sort of, and then you have to clean that soup of the liquefied rock and the acid to create clean slurry. And then that slurry is run through the chemical crystallizer, and it's basically condensed and turned into a crystal again. 5 crystals to 1 ore, to be exact. Then you take those crystals and you run them through the old traditional process of ore quintupling. Now I don't have this, I don't have any hydrogen chloride inside of this right here, but as you can see, it takes it and it would turn this into shards. Shards would go in here, get turned into clumps. Clumps would be turned into dirty dust, and dirty dust would be turned into clean dust to be smelted and turned into bars at the end of the line here. Okay, so that is the way that you perform ore quintupling, or getting 5 ingots out of 1 single ore. It's a large process. This is where you're getting down to the law of diminishing returns. You're putting ridiculous amounts of work into creating it. That being said, it doesn't take a whole lot of sulfur. Now that that has all been explained, I'm gonna go ahead and cut forward to the point where I've cleaned this basement out and I've built a large processing system fully automated. And I'll explain it once it is completely built. So that's how you get ore times 5. I'll see you whenever I finish building the big complicated ore processing system.